So, today I'm taking another walk outside to get some more reference photos so that I can do my next page in my art journal. Let me show you where I am. Turn the camera around, and here I am. I'm in Gainesville, Florida at Santa Fe College, and that building right there is the auditorium where Robin's brother is going to be performing in a Christmas concert. And we've got about an hour before the concert begins, so I wanted to come out here and see what I could find that might work as a reference photo. I mean, anything can work as a reference photo. Sometimes I think a painting looks good even if the photograph may not have looked so good. Let's see. So that looks nice with that curving trail, you know? And over here, I kind of like the way this looks with that tree with the orange leaves, I guess. I don't know if that's a dying fir tree or if that's a Florida autumn tree. And then over here, that's kind of a nice shot also, especially with the bright sun coming in from the back there. And then over here, this walkway also looks kind of nice. So I won't really decide now. I'll probably look at this video later on after I record it, and then I'll choose. But I'll get a reference photo out of this, and you can use any of these also. If there's something that strikes you as a reference photo that you might like to use, that would be fun. I did this a couple times in the past. This is kind of a nice scene too. You know, we have kind of a fork in the trail. This particular trail is there's a sidewalk. Oh, and the sun is coming out. It was a little overcast, but now I got a little hint of that dappled light. I love dappled light. Excuse me if I'm panting a little too much. That looks nice right there too, you know? So I'll pick a scene when I get to my drawing area. I'm reluctant to call it a studio because it's really just a room with a desk. Oh, this area here. Look at those big, these are very large, by the way. These live oak trees with all the Spanish moss hanging on them. If you're not from the southeast US, maybe you're not familiar with Spanish moss, but that's the stuff draping off of the tree, and it happens naturally. It's really kind of pretty. It's got its own look, and you see it in movies a lot. Oh, here's some nice dappled light. This almost looks like it's a creek when it rains, I'm guessing. So I don't know what I'll use. It's kind of nice out here though. Let me just walk around the whole perimeter, and then I'll look at it tomorrow or tonight and decide. There's nobody out here at all. Well, it's a Sunday, so, and I'll be doing the painting tomorrow on Monday. Yeah, I'm here with Robin and her mom. They're waiting inside. Ooh, what is down here? This looks like it might be a body of water. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Look at the size of that tree. That big old oak tree. Wow. Oh, it is a pond of some sort. I know it because the sign says keep out of the pond. I wonder if there's any alligators in there. You see the sign? No swimming, fishing, or boating. I don't think you could boat in there. There's not even any water in it right now. But I kind of like the way that looks too. Gosh, I'm going to have a lot to choose from tomorrow. It's really pretty. All these leaves. Very nice looking. Too bad there's no water in there. I don't see any alligators. But you never know. What is this? Oh, a metamorphic. What? Metamorphic. Nice. Huh. That's this rock right here. Look at that. Well, it's a school, so they probably teach about things like that. Oh, look at that. That's a planetarium right in front of me. Yeah, I've been in that planetarium. That's an excellent planetarium, by the way. Really super nice. Alright, let's keep looking for reference photo angles. Oh, looking into the pond from this angle looks kind of nice too. Really nice. Over here. Look at that landscape right there. A tree, large tree. Wow. Hope you don't mind that I'm making my intro a little bit long. But see, I can't really tell right now what I want to use as a reference photo. But I have plenty dinosaur footprints. What? What? You see what that says? Wow. Not sure where the dinosaur footprints are. And I'm almost completely around the walkway. Petrified wood, look at that. Petrified wood. Right there. Who knew? You could find petrified wood in Florida. They must have shipped it in from somewhere. Well, here's all the reference photo shots. Yeah, I'll use one of these for my next entry into my art journal. Well, thank you for taking the walk with me. I'm going to head inside now. And then the next thing you see will be me painting one of these pictures, one of the screenshots from this walk that I'm taking. And I'll show you which one. I'll do the screenshot and show you what I used. But yeah, go ahead and feel free to do a screenshot of your own if anything looks like you might want to paint it. So this is again, what's it called again? Oh, it's in Gainesville, Florida. Oh, what's the school called again? Can you believe I forgot the name of the school? Santa Fe College. All right, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for taking the walk with me. Let's get started with the painting. All right, so I picked the scene that I want to recreate on painting. I'm going to try to exaggerate the sunlight a little bit because it was kind of overcast. Anyway, so the colors I'm using are white and yellow ochre and burnt sienna. And I might not use this, but I have it out. It's called Green Deep. It's not, I don't know, we'll see. Burnt umber and what's this one? I think this is lemon yellow. Yeah. Do I have two burnt umbers here? Oh, burnt sienna and burnt umber. Okay. Now, yesterday and 2 days ago, I created this palette. And this is gouache. So I can actually reactivate all of these. They're all dry right now. But I can reactivate them. So I have my tubes because I might just want to use paint straight from the tubes. But I'm going to hold off on doing that until I see how everything else looks. All right, let me open up the water jar. Hope I'm not making too much racket on the microphone there. All right, now let me get a brush and let me start. This is Santa Fe College. It used to be called Santa Fe Community College way back, but I've been here for a long time, so. All right, so I'm just gonna brush on now. When you reactivate gouache, it does behave like watercolor. So you gotta kind of be careful of that, especially with this paper, because it's not really watercolor paper. So that might cause a problem. This is only the third day of my journal and only the third time I'm actually painting on this paper, this kind of paper. And if you want me to compare it to something, I will compare it to well, it's not really typewriter paper. It's more like it's more like cheap sketchbook paper. Does that make sense? When I say cheap, you know, inexpensive, I don't necessarily mean bad. I just mean inexpensive. So I think I'm exaggerating the blue sky a little bit. Like I say, I want to exaggerate the sunlight also on the grass. So, but I chose this reference photo from my walk yesterday because it's got this beautiful oak tree that pretty much dominates the whole picture. So it's basically the whole thing. And I just thought that might be fun to kind of have an oak tree, and I'll probably only use one of the oak trees. There are actually two in the photograph, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when I get to it. I really can't always imagine the composition in advance. Sometimes I have to see it on paper before I can really be sure of what I want. I'm going to try to tone down this green for the grass. Bring it down a little bit. Like I say, I want to have the sunlight exaggerated somewhat on here. So I'm going to use a lot of yellow in that green. Yeah, so far I can tell that the watered down gouache acting like watercolor instead of like gouache has a tendency to work like acrylic a little bit, you know. So just have to be careful here. Go ahead and add this. I'm going to almost kind of blend the blue to the green over here in this background area. I just want it to be kind of unclear as to what's back there. In this case, I will let the wet meet the wet. I'll let the wet paint meet the wet paint. And then when it dries, I'll be able to paint over it, which is kind of my idea right now, is to paint over it. And there's a little bit of a hill here too, so a little bit of a dip in the landscape. So I want to kind of create some shadows that kind of reflect that look. A little bit over here. Okay, we got our background trees over there. So I'm going to do all the background stuff first. I think that's going to be my approach here. Make this a darker green right here. There's like a little patch of landscape greenery here. They must have a gardener at the school who takes care of the land. Yeah, so yesterday I took this walk at the school, at the garden outside the auditorium. The auditorium has a name, and I apologize for not knowing the name, but inside the auditorium, after I took my walk, Robin and her mother and I watched the concert that Robin's brother was in, and it was Christmas music, and it was really nice. It's really nice. He's very talented. He plays percussion. So I did videotape the concert. I think I'm probably going to get a little bit of pushback from YouTube because the concert has, of course, copyrighted music in it. I would assume. I mean, well, I know it does. The reason I said I assume is because sometimes with Christmas songs, they're so old that sometimes the copyright doesn't apply. However, they also did a song from Miracle on 34th Street, which is from a movie, which was beautiful, and I don't ever remember hearing that before. And they also did some music from, what was it? For the Polar Express movie. Yes, and that that would easily violate some kind of a copyright law. But the way YouTube has it now is you can use that music. It's just that your video won't be earning you any money, which I'm good with that. You know, I just like to share what we do, and actually I like to help promote the band too, because it's a community band, and I've come out of the concerts in the past. Rob and I have come out of the concerts, and somebody will see us and recognize us from the video. We don't feature ourselves in the video when we do the concerts. When I videotape the concerts, no, it's not about us, it's about them. But we do introduce it. We come on with a little introduction. And we have had a couple of occasions where people will come up to us and say, hey, the reason I'm here is because I saw your video, and I thought, I didn't know we had such a great community band in our community. And it makes me feel good to know that. And also, you know, here's a comment I have about publicity. I worked in radio for a long time, and forget everything you think about radio. You think, oh gosh, you have to have a great speaking voice, you have to know what to talk about, and all of that is true. But the other part of radio is that you are basically in the business of spreading the word about things. It's up to you to choose what you spread the word about. So you might be spreading the word about something really positive in your community. And that's kind of how Robin and I looked at what we did all those years. We were spreading the word about what we did. About what was in our community. Whether it was a fundraiser or an event that would help children, or like right now, there's a couple of places in town that are having Christmas light displays that you can go visit. And so even though we're not on the radio right now, we still use those the experience we had and how to communicate with the media. So I'll give you an example. The church that Robin and her mom and I go to has right now a Christmas light display that they're doing. And it's free, and it's really beautiful. If you go at night, it's like you're walking in a winter wonderland. I mean, really, except for that there's no snow. Because, of course, this is Florida. And so they went through all the work, meaning the church, when I say they went through all the work of putting this together. And they didn't really get the word out about it. They didn't spread the word. So Robin communicated with the local TV stations. I put together a nice video that was on YouTube for, a couple of thousand people shared it and viewed it. And it helped get the word out. So the TV station showed up and they interviewed the pastor, and it really did make a difference. So, and I will tell you that the same thing is true for your art. If you're a young person and you want to get into art as a career, or just maybe you're not young, but you just want to sell your art. Let's say art is just a way to supplement your income, which I actually do supplement my income with my art. I don't sell the art outright. Usually I just give it away. But and obviously I'm not going to be selling my journal. But there are times when people will want a piece of art that they've seen I posted on, let's say, Facebook or something, and they'll say, "Is that for sale?" And I'll say, "Well, the original is something I gave away, because like I was doing all those greeting cards all year long, so I have to say, no, I gave that away, but the print is available, and it's much, cheaper. It's more affordable. Art is more affordable as a print than it is as the original, or at least it should be. Let me tell you, I know some people really want everything for nothing, but you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I do make some money from my art from most of mine is Fine Art America, although I did get a little payment the other day from ArtPal. Well, ArtPal actually paid me through PayPal. No, but ArtPal, if you ever checked out that one, that's a good one too. So while I'm on the topic, if you want to just take note of what I'm saying, I make money with my art by selling prints. Very rarely do I sell originals, but I wouldn't discourage you from doing that. That's just me. That's just because I'm retired and I'm fine with just giving the art away mostly. And mostly it's cards. I have given away some big pieces, but mostly it's cards. So the way I sell them is I put them on Fine Art America, which is number one. Redbubble. Redbubble sells art for me too, which is kind of cool. They sell prints, and they sell cups, and they sell bags, and they sell all kinds of stuff. It's pretty incredible. And that one costs nothing, by the way. Fine Art America is like $30 a year, which is pretty good if you think about it. So there's that. And then, okay, so part two of what I'm trying to tell you here is, if you are trying to sell your art, if you are trying to make your art a business, I'm not saying working for a studio. If you are trying to work for a studio, then the best thing you can do is communicate with all the studios you're interested in working for, and constantly always update your portfolio. And in today's day and age, you have electronic portfolios, meaning you have an online presence, a website or something like that. In my day, you would actually have to walk around with a black valise. We used to call them valises. I don't know if they still call them that or not, but bag, flat bag. And I'd actually take the bags into the city, into New York City with me, and try to get work that way. I never did. I ended up working here in Florida mostly, but so once you are in, like, setting yourself up to sell on Fine Art America or Art Pal or Redbubble, you need to tell people about it. And that is the key right there. Tell people about it. Yep. And how you tell people about it? Well, you can use social media. That is the number one way I let people know about the art that I have available. I just post pictures on social media, and every single post has a link to my Fine Art America page, which is actually pixels.com, or the Redbubble page, or Art Pal. But like I say, Fine Art America is my number one. That's the one I use the most. Okay? So the point is to just get the word out. Get the word out about what you're doing. Don't be shy. Spread the word. If you need somebody else to spread the word, please don't go overboard, and don't buy into these people who say they can promote for you, and then you're going to pay a fortune. You're going to pay more than you're making. Yeah, trust me. There's a lot of people who will take advantage of your desire to be successful at something. Yeah, you can drive yourself nuts, and you got to be patient also. As an artist, being patient should be your middle name. You got to be patient with art. Your middle name. Isn't that a funny expression? All right, I'm just trying to get all these background trees here. Everything I see in this picture. There's just so much going on here. And the other thing about these live oak trees here in Florida is they got all this Spanish moss. So Spanish moss is tricky to paint. It looks like it should be easy, but it's not. It's tricky. Alright, so I'm basically doing like a pointillism thing here. Just getting all these trees. I'm probably going to need to use the paint out of the tube in a little bit. Alright, now this is kind of just a dirty water area. Just blocking it in. This is where that tree is mostly going to be. Let's get some of this. This tree goes all the way to the top of the page. I'm just blocking it in. So I enjoyed the walk. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. I have had, like I have mentioned numerous times, I've had a very sedentary life. I've been sitting in radio, and I've been sitting and doing art. And it really seems to be a good idea for me to get out and walk. So I enjoyed doing that yesterday. I apologize for sounding out of breath, but I kind of was a little bit. Not too bad, but a little bit. And hopefully that will improve as I do this more often. I'm really enjoying doing this idea. Not to say I didn't enjoy doing the the Christmas cards. They were great too. But it's not Christmas yet, but I think I'm done with the Christmas cards for a while. I might not be. There might be somebody in my own circle that I didn't think of. Like maybe I forgot somebody. And I'll have to say, oh my gosh, I gotta do a card for such and such. So, we'll see. Let's see how it works out. So the same camera. Is anybody curious about the camera I use? I use a DJI Osmo, I think, Pocket 2. It's a Pocket 2 camera. I love it. It's not the only camera I use. I also use my phone. But yesterday and today, for this video, I'm using the Pocket 2. It's a really nice camera. I like it a lot. And they have a new one out, Pocket 3. And I would like to get that one. The reason I think I would like that one is because it has a bigger screen. Right now, the one complaint I have about the Pocket 2 is that the screen is rather small. So, just making sure that I don't want to completely obliterate the sky, but pretty much the sky is non-existent in this picture. And a lot of the background here has a lot of white in it because of the parking lot back there. But I don't want to make that obvious. I'm just trying to create just a backdrop of a multitude of trees and a multitude of darks and lights. There we go. And we can always accentuate some of these colors. That's what I like about gouache. You can accentuate a lot. Okay, again, I have to tone down that green. Mix in a little bit of that burnt sienna, it'll tone it down. Make it more of a shadow. There we go. And I want to make the sun coming from the left, so this tree will have a big old shadow here, which I'm kind of like painting in the shadow first, if that makes sense. All right, now I'm going to try to do the tree. See, there's a tree right there, but there's no vertical lines yet. The vertical lines will make it all pop. Hopefully I'm telling you the right thing. All right, let me get a slightly smaller brush. Doesn't have to be that small. Oh, you know what? I'll use one of these. These angled brushes sometimes work good for this kind of thing. And let me get some of the colors out of the tubes. So I think for this, I'm going to use the burnt umber straight from the tube. Whoops, well, that wasn't good. Here we go. All right, that's going to be the beginning of my tree. Look what I just did right there. I just dropped some paint on there. What's the Bob Ross thing? There are no mistakes. Only happy accents. Well, that's a happy accent right there. And you want to know something? It really is, because look, it's deepening the distant stuff there. All right, let me get to the tree here. So the tree starts way down here. I'm almost painting it like acrylic or like oil. Here we go. There's the trunk of our tree. trees have personalities, so I don't want to leave out the personality of the tree. Then take these branches and bring them way over here. It comes across the whole page. Goes way up. Yep, this is tree. This is why I picked this one as a reference photo. Goes way up, then comes way down, and then it goes back up again. Yep, sure does. And then it has branches that come out there. Yep. Let me just keep painting that in there. It's a little bit thicker than I made it. Don't want to go too crazy with the thickness of it. You don't want your eye to fool you, because you're painting on a little tiny surface. If this was a bigger surface, then maybe I could take more chances. It's a little whoops. I think the brush is too big for this branch here, so I'll use a smaller brush when I get back to that. But then there's a branch that comes off of this branch, and it reaches way up to the top of the page. Yeah, I'll use a smaller brush for some of these little branches. But right now I just want to get the bulk of this tree here. And then there's another big branch that comes right next to that one. And it reaches up. And it goes all the way to the top of the page. All the way up here. Yep. Yep, that big old live oak tree, just doing what it does. And that one goes there, and there's this branch here. We got in some of these other branches. Okay, here we go. There's another one right over here that comes up. Let's see, that one goes there, and this one actually comes up and kind of crosses over this other one. Yeah, it almost connects with this one here. A lot of branches here. I can see them. The more I study it, the more I see them. All right. And over here we have one on the side that comes up like this. Comes up like this. It just kind of folds over. It goes that way. And there's one right next to it. That goes way up here. And that big old branch right there. Big old trunk. And then there's this one that comes across over here. Yeah, it just reaches everywhere. Oh, and there's one here that I didn't see. This looks like one right here. Looks like it reaches all the way over here. Yeah. Maybe I should put this other tree. There is a tree behind it. I think some of those branches are actually working with this tree, intertwining with this tree. So let's put that tree in there too. I wasn't going to, but I think I will. Now I've gone past the point of thinking I will to actually doing it. There we go. And part of this too is how we create that look of a hill over here. I know this other tree has branches that also reach way up to the top. When I was a kid, I would go outside and sometimes sketch trees and try to capture their likeness. Absolutely recreate the tree on paper, you know, just take every branch, just doing every single branch instead of trying to create an impression of a tree. I would actually try to do every single branch. So it's probably okay to do that, but you also don't need to do that. Although it is kind of what I'm doing right now. I kind of want to get the essence of this really big tree. This looks like it has a branch that curves around here. It connects with some of these. And some of this I can amplify a little bit with a smaller brush. Get some of these smaller branches, but right now just getting the larger branches. Yeah. So, all right, let me get some of this. What is this called again? This is called yellow ochre. I get some of that yellow ochre straight from the tube. The reason I want to get that is I want to sort of mix it with the burnt umber to create that shadow. There we go. There we go. A lot of that shadow doesn't have to be dark or real dark. And see this tree. So there'd be a lot of dappled light. If the sun was actually shining bright yesterday, then I would have the dappled light in my photograph, my reference photo. But that didn't happen. Let's try to get some of these little areas of grass here. Yeah. All right, now the tree itself needs a few more smaller branches. So let me get a smaller brush. That's a little too small, I think. Here, this one looks good. This one, that looks like a good brush for small little branches. All right, let's just have some fun. Now, in this case, I'm not going to try to paint every branch the way it looks in the photograph. I'm just going to add a lot of little branches and have fun. Just take it and make a load of little branches, because there's no way I could do every single branch. It would take a very long time, and I probably wouldn't get it right anyway. You know, I can go ahead and put the vertical line on that tree, by the way, while I'm over here. That tree in the distance has some branches of its own, as you can see. Yeah, and it also has, of course, some shadow underneath it. And we'll get some of those other colors in there in just a bit. And some of these other ones have some vertical lines. There's other trees back here that I didn't define earlier. I'm going to define them right now. Some of that walking trail. This is the walking trail that I was on in the distance. Is visible. And I'll take care of that later too. Alright, let's get some of these branches here. They just go everywhere. There are a few places around here where the live oak trees hang over the road, and they create these beautiful canopies. And those beautiful canopies also seem to be scary canopies, like when it rains and you see these gigantic limbs hanging over the road and it's windy, or worse than that, when it's hurricane-ish, when we have the heavy winds that we get sometimes. You think, oh gosh, I hope that limb stays there when you drive in your car, you know. I'm sure you have that in your world too. Unless you live in the desert, then maybe you don't have that experience. I might have said this already, but if you want to use the video I made at the beginning here for your own reference photos, please feel free to do that. Do not think for 1 minute that I'm going to worry about copyrights on video that I took when I took a walk. I mean, I did it specifically for the purpose of reference photos, and I have no problem with you using it as a reference photo. No way. Why would I do that to you? I was telling Robin yesterday, Robin's brother, I told you he's a musician. So is her sister-in-law, his wife. They're both musicians. So she was in the band too. I really should have said her name. Her name is Ramona. His name is Jim. She plays the trumpet. He plays percussion. But their career was not in music, technically. Their career was as music teachers. So they are good at teaching and at playing music. And I was telling Robin that when I do the Poppa Paints videos, I do not think of myself as a teacher, because I don't know that I'd be a good teacher. I don't know. I mean, I watch how they teach. My brother's a teacher, the one in Oregon. And it's a skill. It's a kind of a hidden skill, because people don't realize that teachers have this skill that I don't think can be taught. I don't think you can teach somebody to teach. I think teaching happens by teaching. I think teachers learn how to teach by teaching. That's what it looks like to me. If you're a teacher, tell me if you agree with that or not. But I think the more experienced teachers, and the ones who pay attention to what works and what doesn't work, they become the better teachers. So again, I'm not a teacher, so you tell me if I'm right or not. But my point is, I paint on Poppa Paints. I don't really teach how to paint. I mean, I can tell you what I'm doing, and you can look and see what I'm doing. But I don't know that I'm teaching anything. I don't even know, like, what the colors are. I have to read the tube. That's an example of really, like, I can't tell you what kind of brush I'm even using right now unless I look at the side of it and read it, which I could do that. It's a number 1 made by Princeton. See? I didn't even know that till just this second. Therefore, I'm not really a good teacher. I'm the guy in the modern world that you go paint with. That's it. If you had a friend in the old days, or maybe you have a friend right now, maybe there's 2 of you painting while I'm doing this, and I've had some messages from some of you saying that you paint while I paint. That's awesome. It's kind of probably what I had in mind when I started doing this, but I kind of don't get out much. And I'm kind of old. So I say kind of old. I don't want to admit that I am old. So I say kind of. I'm kind of old. I'm kind of old. That's like saying I'm kind of fat. I'm kind of fat. I'm kind of overweight. Well, I am what I am. You know. I'm kind of looking forward to Christmas. I got a lot of nice gifts for people. Nothing big. I bought some things for Robin that I can't wait for her to get. I didn't get what you're thinking. I didn't get like the normal girly things. like shoes or sweater. No, I don't tell her. If I tell you this, do not tell her. But I got her a butane torch. I got her a butane torch. Please don't let her watch this video now that I said that. The reason I got her a butane torch, it's not for like construction. It's for baking. We were watching this show, and the baker on the show was using a butane torch to do something to the top, the frosting, or to the cheese, or they were taking this flame and they were like crisping the top. And Robin said, I gotta get one of those. Well, when she said that, I took a mental note of that, and then next time I went to YouTube, I looked it up, and sure enough, they are everywhere, and they're all different prices. So I got the most expensive one, assuming, which is not always good, but I assumed that you get what you pay for. So hopefully I got her a good one, and hopefully it's not dangerous. I don't know. Gosh, I wouldn't want to give her something dangerous. But she's going to laugh when she gets it, I think. And probably make something. Do you know what we like? We go to this restaurant called Mimi's Cafe here in Ocala. And they have the best French onion soup. Yes, and the cheese on this, they have cheese melted on the onion soup. And it is, it looks like it's got that butane torch thing going on. Looks like they do something with it to spice it up with the look, you know. Look at all these branches here, huh? See, I knew this tree was going to be the star of the show. That's why the background, I wasn't too worried about it. And now this tree is not there. This tree has leaves on it, and this tree has Spanish moss on it, so I'm a little bit reluctant to do the Spanish moss because I'm not good at Spanish moss. I'll try. I'll do the best I can. Oh, you know what I missed on this tree? This tree has a lump right there. This tree has a little bit of a knot right there. Okay, I didn't see that earlier. Okay, and I think I missed a whole trunk over here. I'm pretty sure this goes up more. I think I got distracted by the second tree. A lot of the trunk and all this will be kind of hidden by the leaves and stuff. But I think one of the things that's the characteristic of the live oak tree is the huge branches that just go everywhere. I've seen people with swings attached to these branches. I've seen kids climbing on these branches. Not this particular tree, but we have a hamburger joint here in Ocala, and they have a huge tree, an oak tree in their yard that you can eat under. It's got a picnic table, and it's just it's got to be hundreds and hundreds of years old. It's got to be. This tree right here is probably hundreds of years old. I don't think I'm making it look as big as it actually is. But all right, there's our tree. Now, okay, the Spanish moss. I don't want to mess up on the Spanish moss or the leaves. So I think what I'll do, the Spanish moss to me looks like it's a mixture of gray. I'm very reluctant to use black. but I think I have to. I think I'm going to have to make a gray mix. I think that one says black. Alright. I'm going to break my rule and use black. Black and white together. Make a little bit of gray. I can't remember which is the stronger color. I think black is the stronger color. Sometimes white can be strong too. Alright. Well, we're going to do this one thing at a time to make sure I don't mess it up too bad. Because there's not only Spanish moss, but there's a lot of leaves on here too. So I think the leaves need to be... Alright, let me get some green out for the leaves. I don't want them to be green. I want them to be very toned down. So I'm going to use the red to do that. Here's some crimson red. So I'm going to use the red to tone down the green. I'm going to use the white to tone down the black. Oh gosh, okay, here we go. Let me start with the red. Let me start with this. Let me add some. See, I think that's even too dark. Okay, I'm trying to tone down the green to make... It's got to be like a dry brush too. So let me just work it real lightly. A lot of areas with leaves on here. And then I'll do the Spanish moss. I'm just going all over the map here so that I can slowly let the paint on the brush become like a dry brush. Yeah, that's working. It's kind of working nice. Yeah, that looks nice. That's nice. Okay, so what I did was I used green, which was too green. I mixed it with some red. And then I put a little bit of white in it to lighten it up. And then kind of letting it kind of dry on the brush a little bit. Yeah, it's obviously darker than the sky. Yeah, there's a lot of leaves in this picture, really. There's a lot of growth on this tree. This is not a dead tree at all. Not at all. It's a live oak. That's why it's called live, right? Yeah, just put a lot of leaves on there. Trying to get it as much, trying to make it as dry brush as I can. So that the students who go to this school hopefully will discover this this painting and say, hey, I go to school there, I know that tree. Wouldn't that be cool? Students themselves. So I did a painting that the students discovered. It's there's a prairie in the same town in Gainesville, just outside of Gainesville actually, and it's a very popular place for the kids to go and watch the sunset. I'm assuming that it's a romantic place to go to watch the sunset. Hey, I was young once. I know about that stuff. Yeah, but I think they parked their cars and watched the sunset. And it's called Payne's Prairie. So I did a painting one time of Payne's Prairie. Robin and I was taking Robin to the doctor, and we were driving across the prairie. And it was early morning, and the sun was just beautiful, hitting the water that's in the prairie. Because the prairie is kind of like a swamp or like a marsh. It's got a lot of water in it. And so the sun was hitting it in such a way that it was really beautiful. And so I took a photograph of it. And then later on, I used that photograph as a reference photo. And simply, I put it up on my Fine Art America page, and I sell. It sells a lot, too. And I just simply called it Payne's Prairie. And, like, oh gosh, once a month, maybe, I'll get a notice from Fine Art America that I made a sale. And I always look and say, whoa, what sold? Oh, Payne's Prairie. And you want to know something? It was a relatively easy painting to do. This one is kind of easy too. This one just takes time because of the fact that it's got a lot of detail. I just want this one to look good. This is day 3 of my journal. I want my journal to look good, like when it's all done. And people look at it and say, wow, look at your journal. Whoa, look at your journal. And then they'll show me their journal. Here's my journal. I'm not going to write much in my journal. I'm just going to paint and then title the pictures. And I am putting these, by the way, on my Fine Art America page also. Nobody's bought any yet, but this is only the 3rd one. But I have sold some of the Christmas cards, the prints of the Christmas cards that I did. Yeah, some of those are sold. I know I've told you this before, but patience is definitely a virtue when it comes to art. It takes a year sometimes for people to buy a piece of art. You can't expect it to go right away. That's why don't dump your money into an advertising campaign. Just use social media. Spread the word out. Do it yourself. Tell people about it by word of mouth or however. And there. What do you think? I don't want to overdo this. There's a few more leaves here. And then I'll put the Spanish moss in here. The Spanish moss is as much a part of this tree as the leaves are, even though it's a separate plant. For all of you botany students, botanical students. Alright, well, I put white and black there for a reason. Let's see how that works out. Alright, come on. Give me the right tone of black and white. Alright, here we go. A little bit blacker than that, I guess. Oh, there's one. There's one Spanish moss. I think Spanish moss is multiple colors. I think the reason Spanish moss is difficult to paint is because it's not just one color. It's got there's so much texture to Spanish moss that you can't just use one. You kind of have to really work it. And you know what? Be real gentle with it, I think. So in some places it's going to be lighter than the background, in other places it's going to be darker. lot of Spanish moss here. I think I just keep working it. Again, the dry brush technique, I think, is the key to the Spanish moss. It's not a one brush stroke kind of a thing. I really think you have to really kind of work it. So some of the Spanish moss would be darker than others. They all hang. It's like tinsel from a Christmas tree. That's what Spanish moss is. And you know what? I don't think you have to do a whole lot of it. I'm thinking just a hint of it, you know. And also a hint of white, I think, here and there in the Spanish moss will give it that feel of Spanish moss. I think so. Yeah, because the light is hitting it just a little bit. I think I'm pulling it off. I think I'm getting the Spanish moss look here. Okay. Trying to get a little bit of white onto this Spanish moss over here. And it definitely is everywhere. It's all over the place. I'm really reluctant to paint it all over the place here, but at the same time, it's part of the personality of the tree. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere. All right, I think I'm gonna consider the tree having everything done. And the only thing I'm really wanting to fix now, make a little bit better, is the grass underneath it. I think I want that to be more shadowy and dappled light-ish, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow ochre and brown. I'll use yellow ochre and burnt umber. Sorry, I call it brown. I'm still a kid at heart. I still call it brown. Yeah. I want to make more of these shadows here. And over here too, some of these shadows. And over here, some trees that you don't see that are also casting shadows. Just trying to mix the brown with the yellow ochre. Yeah, that tree in the distance can have a little bit more definition. There we go. Oops, I got a little bit of red in there. Okay. Yeah, a little more dappled light look. This is the part I wanted to exaggerate from what the actual reference photo shows. And also this tree probably could use a little bit of light also on the side of it. Okay. And now we're starting to get that dappled light look, I think. I'm going to take a little bit of that gray, since I've made some gray. A little bit of it. Maybe add a little bit of blue to it or something. Add a little bit of a hint of light hitting the side of that tree right there. It wasn't sunny when I took the walk, but had it been sunny, there probably would have been some light hitting that tree and this tree. There we go. All right, maybe one more brush. Actually, let me get a really small brush. How about this one right here? I'll go ahead and put some, let me get some of that yellow here from the tube. And I'll go ahead and add some little streaks of grass here. I think I'm done. I think that's all I need to do. Well, there it is. Art journal number 3. Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida. All right. Thank you for watching. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.